Hello and welcome to Hot Issues. Today we're talking to a very, very distinguished personality, very prominent personality in Ghanaian politics. And we're talking essentially about Parliament, its role, whether it's performed well or not. We'll be talking about what is perceived as a national crisis and national politics. We'll be talking about a whole range of issues. Welcome to Hot Issues. Welcome back to Hot Issues, and it is my privilege to introduce the Honorable Alban Kingsford Bagbin. He's been many things and is still many things. Indeed, he was a minister responsible for several portfolios including health, works and housing, and so on. He's been majority leader in Parliament and currently is a member of a committee which was appointed by the President to supervise certain ongoing projects and so on. Today we're going to have a discussion with the Honourable Bagbin, and we are going to look at Parliament, we are going to look at its difficulties, and we're going to look at national politics. So you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes, sir. What is the state of Parliament in the light of all the allegations that it doesn't have money to work and so on? What is Parliament like today?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to inform Ghanaians about the state of Parliament today. Parliament has been on since 1993 with the commencement of the Fourth Republic. We've gone through a number of phases, and this is now the 6th Parliament of the Fourth Republic. We are an institution in Ghana, and we are also affected with what happens in the country. As at now, we can say that the human resource base in Parliament is quite good, very high. We are still having challenges in areas such as finance, logistics, and in fact the whole legal framework surrounding the work of Parliament. And so Parliament seemed to be stagnating. In fact, we were expecting to be one of the best in Africa. We still rank among the best, but we're not the best yet. And we hope that with some support, we'll be able to do better. Again, we're lucky that one of us rose up to the highest office in the institution of Parliament, that is Speaker, the Right Honourable Do Adjoho, who started with me on the 7th of January 1993, is now the Speaker of Parliament. And that is an achievement, and we are very happy about that. And with that kind of record and knowledge and experience of parliamentary practice, we were expecting that this Parliament would have performed better than all the other parliaments. But unfortunately, we are all caught up in the challenges that the country is facing. In fact, I think now we are beyond challenges. I do agree with those who think that we are now in a crisis. And so Parliament is affected seriously by that. There's a lot of resource constraints, and there's a lot of general apathy. I mean, members are meeting a lot of serious hurdles, and they are not being able to surmount them. And so performance have sloped down seriously. And I hope and pray, not only hoping and pray, we're working at a number of issues that could strengthen Parliament. And I want to call Ghanaians on board. We should really stop the blame game and see where we all went wrong and see how best we can improve and move ahead.
You mentioned the need for support. What kind of support? What areas, would you think that Parliament would need support?
One, we need to be able to reach out to the whole society to understand first, what is parliament? What kind of parliament is it that we have chosen for ourselves in Ghana? Who is a member of parliament? What is expected of a member of parliament? And what is also expected of not only the other arms of government, but also the people that the member of parliament represents? We've not been able as a country to carry along the people who elect us as to what we're doing for them or on their behalf. I think this gap is one of the serious challenges. But basically, the basic law, which is the Constitution, will need to be relooked at. Luckily, we're having the opportunity to do some reforms in the Constitution. There are various types of parliament, and it's the country that decides which type they want. Do you want a parliament that is along the line of the British Parliament, very strong, very sovereign, and very independent, and in fact that is where the executive rests? Or do you want the type of parliament that is the United States, very independent? There is no member of parliament that or Congress that is Secretary of State? Or what do you want? We've tried to form what we always refer to as a hybrid, a combination of these two major, I should say, I won't say extremes, but major types of parliamentary institutions. But I think it's not working well. We finally ended up empowering the executive and taking away a lot of the powers of parliament. And that is why you recall that it's now a cliche in parliament that we keep on saying that parliament is in the belly of the executive. And so I would prefer that we take some time and explain properly to the people what the options are before we even go to the referendum for the decision of the people as to the constitutional review. And that is why some of us have problem with the process that has been taken so far in the constitutional review. It looks like those of us who are in parliament, who have gone through it all, are not giving enough space to be able to make input as to what should be done. And so this is a very unique opportunity for this country. And if we don't take time, it will pass by us again. And I support the civil society coalition that is trying to urge on the powers that be to give more room to parliament to play and not just bring something fait accompli to parliament. And so we need to do that. The second thing is that we need to look at the arms of government. We have the executive, we have the legislature, we have the judiciary. I'm not surprised because I heard long ago that the judiciary is struggling to operate. And so when just yesterday they were talking about the Court of Appeal not sitting again, I wasn't surprised. We need to look at it. Is it that we want to have an autocratic system being run by the executive arm, or we want the other arms to be able to check and balance the power that we give onto the executive? It's a decision we have to take. We are struggling as an arm to get even our budget releases to be able to function. If members of parliament or committees of parliament are given the function to oversee the performance of the executive arm, you definitely will need resources to be able to oversee what they are doing. You will even need to engage experts in various areas to be able to support you to do that. You may not have the capacity. I'm a lawyer by profession. I have little knowledge about auditing. I have little knowledge about oil. I have little knowledge about even agric, because my father was a peasant farmer, and I learned how to farm. That's all. So you need to get people in the area, not just listen and accept what comes from the executive, to give us other alternative views for us to be able to take the decision or to even advise government on policy lines as to the way our people, our people want us to go. And that is the other area that Ghana hasn't focused on. We haven't given resources to members of parliament to always get back to the people. After all, we are representing the people, and we are not sent by the people to decide for them what they want. We should be able to go back to the people and say, this is what government wants to do. What is your view? We don't have resources in that area. We've not been able to do that. And so you cannot do your oversight. Even in legislating, you are not able to tap the views of your people to be able to enrich the draft skeletal proposal that come from government. And so the people at the end of the day don't know what you are doing for or doing on their behalf. They are not getting the benefits that we have promised them. And there's general apathy, there's cynicism. And I don't know where we're going.
The apathy, is it amongst the people you represent or amongst yourselves as parliamentarians?
Everybody.
The cynicism and the apathy.
Everybody. Ghanaians themselves, when you meet them, you can see people are not encouraged, people are not motivated, and people are talking, oh, I'm not going to vote again. I'm not going to register. I'm not going to do this. It's because we've not been able to meet their expectations. I'm not even talking about aspirations or needs, with the expectations. And parliamentarians are getting frustrated, I must say. A lot of us, the senior ones, are even considering not proceeding after this parliament. Because and that is one of the other issues we have to look at. Successes become serious issues in Ghana. They are now seen as an anathema. People refer to you because you've been in parliament for long as a Mugabe, with negative connotation. I think that people should rather be commending them, those who have managed to succeed and to stay there for long, because they don't vote themselves into power. It's people who elect them. And they might be satisfying a larger number of the people in their constituencies to be able to succeed. I've fought successfully 6 elections. I must be doing something that my people appreciate. And that is why when others contest me, I'm still able to win. And so instead of us to encourage and motivate others to follow suit, we rather discouraging people from succeeding in life. It's not only in politics, it's all over in other professions. So I think, coming back to Parliament, we will need to be able to strengthen Parliament to make sure, if we are the custodian of the purse, if we are the people who approve the budget, we should be able to ensure that what we approve is what the executive gives to the arms of government and the agencies of government to perform. We don't have that muscle to do that.
Is the very constitution you are operating not a fetter to the independence of Parliament? For example, 50% of the executive, of the president's cabinet, ministers, have to be appointed from Parliament.
Yeah, that is one of the features. That gives us the arsenal to say that Parliament is in the belly of the executive. I truly have debated this with many people. I don't believe in that. I don't think that we should be appointing our ministers of state from Parliament. I don't think so. It's almost impossible for an individual to give equal attention to the executive function at the same time the parliamentary function, particularly so as the executive function seems to have better conditions of service than the parliamentary. And so most of the times when you, and I have been a minister of state before, you get caught up in the heavy load of work at the ministry, to the detriment of your parliamentary representation. And I think that is an area we have to look at. I know there's a proposal that the president should be given the opportunity to appoint his ministers from within or without parliament. That is either members of parliament or non-members of parliament. It's something that we have to look at seriously. I would want to have a parliament in Ghana which is devoid of executive influence, which is not part of the executive. That is what I want. I know others say that it's better we go the parliamentary system where the prime minister is a member of parliament. I beg to differ. The stability of the British Parliament is as a result of the monarchy. They've been able to give a lot to support the monarch to survive and to be the source of stability and peace in the United Kingdom. Ghana is an amalgam of many ethnic and tribal groups. Some were acephalous groups. In other words, they had no chiefs. There's been some imposition. And this is why we still have some of these crises in the north and other parts of the country. And so we don't have a stabilizing factor like that. And to have a parliamentary system, I don't think that it will work for us. Again, we have so many minority groups. There are just a few majority groups. And the domination is such that if you come with such a system, there will be a lot of discontent in the numerous minority groups that we have. We want to have separation in such a way that if you opt to be in parliament, so be it. If you don't want to be in parliament, you don't contest to be a member of parliament. You stand aloof, work, and on the basis of merit